Here we are out at the shop now. This is day 2, the next day after what you guys just saw. Last night, it was just like, after driving 14 hours, we're like, yeah, we're just gonna go to bed now and not worry about the rest of this video. Plus, it was dark out, so I wanted you to see it in the sunlight. But here she is in all of her glory. So here we have a super clean 2001 Ram 2500 Cummins. So I've been looking for a very long time for one of these trucks. This is just the pure heart of a diesel. Like when you think of like a diesel, loud, rattly, straight to the point, you think of a 24 valve Cummins or a 12 valve, one of the two. But this is very, very nice truck. I'm very impressed of how clean it is. That's kind of why I went as far as I did, because you see these trucks everywhere for, you know, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, whatever, $9,000. But then there's like a different level. There's like the super clean truck. There's like the cream of the crop, never seen salt in its life. Now this is kind of like in between there, more towards that higher clean. Like there is pretty much zero rust under here. Like usually these doors right here are all shot. Cab corner's usually bad, rocker's usually bad. Now this has some right here. What happened was some rocks came up, hit this, chipped the paint away. So this is all like real solid, but it's just the fact that rocks were beating against this, and then it just kind of gave way. You can pretty much flake all that back. But other than that, like the door itself is real solid, front to back, just where that paint, you know, you can even see right there, little rocks did their number. Same thing down here. So I'm going to get all that touched up before the same thing starts to happen. But as far as underneath goes, like usually this stuff is completely gone. Much nicer than any GM you'll see at this age, that's for sure. So I'm just going to give that a new coat of paint, get it all nice and prepped, and it'll pretty much be like nice and factory underneath. Wheels even too, these are the sport wheels, I do believe, the aluminum ones. Up front, same thing, just all pretty much stock as can be. We have a ton of plans, because I've been waiting so long for one of these that I just couldn't wait to go ahead and start digging into it. As far as the body goes, pretty straight. You got to keep in mind, you know, this is a truck from 2001, so you're going to have some dings and dents. Plan is to give it to a body guy to kind of see what all he can get out. This is all straight until you get to like right here. I don't know if you can pick it up on camera. And then there's one on the door right there. That should be an easy one to get out, because it's just, there's no crease to it. It's simply just pushed in a little bit. Up front, hood looks good. One little one, I think around here, you can even make that out. Tough to even tell on camera, but it's about like right in that area. You can kind of see the trees move around that. Fender's good. Usually these, you'll see them rusted out right up top there. Back, especially in the bed, you'll see them all rusted through right here. But this thing, inside and out, solid as can be. Not even starting the rust on the inside. Virginia rarely ever sees salt, so I think she said she only took it in the salt once in the time she owned it. It was a lady who used it to pull some horses, so she's got the fifth wheel in there. And underneath, when I first came to this thing, and the tailgate too has some dings and dents, so I'm hoping I can get like one of those strips that goes across here, like the tailgate protector, to A, protect it, and B, hide that, and then we'll try and see what we can do on paint correction for that. I saw this and I'm like, oh no, the whole bed's just gonna be rusted. Like, man, we just drove all this way, the bed's shot on this thing, but lifted it up, and that's literally it. So I think something must have been in between here and there, which rubbed all the paint away and therefore gave it that little bit of rust. But underneath of this thing, once we get it all pressure washed and cleaned out, I mean, that is a pristine bed right there. So pretty much anywhere there's rust on this truck, it was just because the paint was taken away, like that right there. These bed rails will get bed line, we'll get the bed line, same thing right there. So the toolbox was up against that, rubbed the paint away, and just exposed bare metal, simple as that. Same thing here, inside the fender wells, nice and solid. Usually the fuel door, you'll see like around the bottom where salt sits in here, and then also up and behind here, you'll see that rust a lot too, but nice and clean on that. Rock chip there. See, that's what I want to get this whole thing taken care of in terms of rock chips, because what I don't want to happen is all these little things to grow over time and become giant rust spots like that door did over here. Now this one isn't as bad, just kind of up front a little bit right there where it's starting to peel back. Right here it's starting to as well. So as you can see, it's just flaking. So we definitely got to get that taken care of. Whether we can get the whole door painted like from this, blended into one of these seams or not, I'm not sure. I'm not the paint expert when it comes to that, but I know a whole new door would kind of throw a wrench into things, because you don't know if it's going to match the fender. You don't know if it's going to match this. Even if you get a factory one, is it faded the same? tons of little variables. Now for the stuff that you guys care about. Underneath the hood. So as I said, we have the Cummins 24 valve engine. This engine came from 98.5 up until 2002. As far as performance goes on this thing, not really a whole lot. So we just have a aftermarket intake, or not even intake, just a new filter on there. We have a Edge comp box, and I do believe it tapped the VP pump. There's a ground for the Edge there, and the comp box itself sits right here. 5 levels. I don't know if this one has a hot unlock or not. And then right above that is the trailer brake controller that was installed as well. So we'll probably find a new mount for that little bit cleaner option. And of course, no second gen at all is complete without the cracked dash. So looks like a little bit of spray foam in there to kind of hold this thing even up, as this carpet that everyone seems to put over these. Bezel was only cracked right here, which makes me think this thing might be on its second bezel, because usually these things are splintered to pieces, especially if the dash is that bad. Then I don't know how the bezel wasn't absolutely shot as well, even though there's some up there too. Maybe it is just original and never got taken out too many times. But the seat doesn't rip, which is a plus, because that's a lot of interior and upholstery stuff, and usually stuff doesn't match when you mess with just the bottom of it. So I'm glad you don't have to deal with that. This is the only bad spot on the console, because everyone rests their elbow right there, and that's what happens. I'm gonna give it a deep clean. Underneath here, the carpet really isn't too terrible. Just a little bit of dirt underneath there, so we'll get that all scrubbed out. We have the new cleaner we'll try out on that. Underneath the back seat, there is a kicker subwoofer that just happened to be in there, and a kicker amp. I haven't even looked at it to see. 300 amps, so it's 300 amp and probably a 10-inch subwoofer. So let's see what this is. I haven't even seen this. Oh, this is a comp box direction, so I guess I'll find out if this thing has the hot unlock or not. There's a little map sensor tap in, I believe, something like that, but I don't know. I'll have to look into that, see if it does have it. But definitely we're gonna clean up the wiring on this and put this in differently. Not sure what some of this stuff is, but like I said, I haven't even cleaned this yet. Oh, that's an aux cord. Yeah, we definitely don't use those anymore, so probably throw that away. But yeah, I'm gonna clean this thing out top to bottom, redo the wiring for this, clean it up a little bit, maybe see if there's a different box, or if this box just kind of needs situated and put into place. Has the sliding rear glass. Back seats look brand new, which is nice. Not the biggest fan of the whole rainbow 1995 design there, but I guess it's kind of what you got to deal with these, unless you go leather. Factory mirrors on there. We're definitely going to do some tow mirrors. You guys know, if a Cummins doesn't have tow mirrors, is it even a Cummins? Oh, also the visor. That's one other thing that, you know, just from grabbing it to pull it down, and this stuff is real cheap and chintzy. You can just dig your fingernail into it. Look at that, for me digging my fingernail. The rest of the headliner, on the other hand, is pretty good shape. Definitely going to do an LED conversion, no doubt about that. Tint, side windows, front window shield, we need all that. We need a PA inspection sticker, not Virginia. Engine wise, this is not a 53 block. If you were looking into a 98.5 up until a 2000, very rarely 2001 Cummins, definitely make sure it is not a 53 block. Those blocks were manufactured in Brazil, and what happened was the casting kind of shifted a little bit. The molding that they were using to cast the blocks for these engines was like kind of worn out, so sometimes the water jackets would get real thin in areas because that casting shifted and that metal got real thin. So that's kind of like a 53 block is a hit or miss. Like, you're probably going to crack the block if you put a little power to it. Some people never have issues. Some people at like 100,000 miles, 150, if things cracked, and you're kind of screwed at that point. And the marking on the blocks for these is either right below the oil filter, below the oil cooler on the side of the block, right where the oil pan meets it, or sometimes you'll see it on this side too, in that exact replica area. If you guys want, drop down in the comments if you would find it helpful if I did a video on things to look for when buying a second gen Cummins, because I did a lot of extensive research, and just from seeing trucks in the shop, you kind of get to see what's common issues on these trucks. So if you think that'd be useful for you guys, drop a comment down below. I'd love to kind of explain why I ended up with the truck I ended up, and what you should be looking for and common problems on these trucks. But other than that, boys, that is her, a 2001 Cummins. Nice and clean and fresh. I could not be happier about this thing. Sounds awesome. It's about to sound even better. I did forget to mention that we have a aftermarket exhaust. Yeah, we definitely want a new grill, because not a fan of that. New grill, headlights, antenna, tint, tow mirrors, WeatherTech vent visors got to go. You know, just all the little things that I like to do. Definitely going to take these off of here. That's no doubt about that. D-badge. Badges on the tailgate are all coming off. Bed liner, bumpers, taillights, you name it. This truck's going to get it. So you may have seen by the massive tip right here, this thing does have an aftermarket exhaust. I'm not sure what it is. It kind of looks like that's not 4-inch, I don't think. I honestly think that's the factory exhaust with a tip on it and the muffler taken out of it. Or no, it does say MBRP on the muffler right here. So maybe this is a 4-inch system on that with a muffler. I don't know, either way, if you know me, we're putting a 5-inch straight pipe on this thing. Now's a good time to show the underneath of this. Cab is nice and solid under there. The frame just needs a little bit of touch up, a little bit of surface rust to her, but she is alive and well and in good shape. Oh, and this tar right here looks like somewhere must accidentally ran through some tar. That's also on the back here because this back tire kicked it up. So I'm gonna have to find something. I have a decent tar remover. I may try and throw at this. It's like the actual legit stuff. Like it's got a little bit of glass in it as well to kind of protect it. So I don't know. I'll see what I can find. If you guys have suggestions on very good aggressive tar removers, let me know, because the stuff I've been using is by Turtle Wax, I believe, and that stuff's taken off medium tar, like stuff on the tip, things like that, but I've never tried to take off half the road at once. Needless to say, this truck is going to make a huge transformation. I got to take a ton of pictures of it now because I want to be able to look back at this thing and be like, wow, that's where we started with this. And you best believe that every video of this is going to be uploaded on this channel. Every single modification we do, we're going to do everything. So injectors, turbo, lift, wheels, you name it, this thing is going to get it. So I enjoyed the heck out of purchasing this thing, driving down there, towing the thing back, all that, experiencing how Hayden's truck ran, a Cummins tow and a Cummins. It was pretty cool. So hopefully you guys did enjoy that as much as I did. Thank you for watching this video. Hit the subscribe to see all the future content to come of this for the Cummins guys. Thanks again, guys, for watching, and we will see you on the next video.